welcome to another episode of Earning the Hate. Hey, God, people. Oh my God, our government is so out of control and so stupid. This little girl, I'm sorry, this police officer, wannabe police officer, well, whatever. She comes up and grabs this dude's arm because he's videotaping on a sidewalk and detains him and then arrests him for disorderly conduct and then lets him go. I mean, this is just crazy. So the guy who did this video put all the department information in here and stuff. He was handcuffed, detained, put in back of a patrol car for 10 minutes, and then they decided he was free to go. This is an unlawful detention. It used to be false arrest, but most agencies now have, or most states have a law that says if I arrest you, I can unarrest you and there was never arrest. So I can literally put you in handcuffs, put you in my car, transport you to jail, and as I'm booking you in jail, decide, all right, I'll let you go now and you can find your own way back to your car. All I have to do, I think it's called 849B in California. I haven't done it in a while, but and I release you and say, you know what? You were only detained. It wasn't an arrest. Have a nice day. You can't sue. And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. So this guy, and again, this is why I like these First Amendment auditors, because they hold government in check and they expose the ignorance. And if there wasn't First Amendment auditors, cops would be probably twice as tyrannical as they are. You people, I know a lot of people don't like them and say that they just incite cops. They're usually assholes. They're unfair. Whatever. You know what? If I'm an asshole, then I'm an asshole. And when cops are assholes, to blame someone else that made them an asshole, I don't get it. But anyway, here we go.
I want to know what you're doing.
Did I do anything illegal? I don't answer questions.
The people who live here.
Did I?
Actions.
So I want to get to her comments and his answers and kind of say where an auditor could do a better job at articulating what's going on.
What is going on? Chris!
Please let me go.
No,
Okay, as soon as an officer puts hands on you, that is force and you are not free to leave. You are detained. If you start pulling away or trying to leave and argue that the detention is unlawful, you're going to get charged with resisting an arrest. Okay? I mean, that's just the way it is. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just telling you what the law is. So once an officer puts hands on you, the best thing you can do is document it and say, why are you using physical force on me right now? Because normally physical force has to be used to either defeat physical force, to stop physical force, to stop resisting arrest, etc. So as soon as she put hands on him, she was wrong, in my opinion. She had no reason to detain him. She could walk with him. She could ask him. She could say, we've got complaints. And he could say, you know what? I don't care about your complaints. This is why red flag laws are really a problem. Because these people in his home called the police and said they were nervous because he was filming. And that got a police response and got a guy force used on him, physical force. This girl put hands on him. Then they handcuffed him. Then they physically forced him into a car and detained him for 10 minutes. All on the say of a red flag from somebody that got offended. This is a really, really bad path we're on about giving government all this ability to screw over citizens with zero accountability because they have nothing to lose. I guarantee you, when a law is passed that police can be sued privately for false arrest, that police can be held civilly liable and personally liable and lose their job for making false arrests, this shit would stop tomorrow. But you know what? Nobody wants it to stop. Government likes their power. They like people that are fearful.
I need to find out what's going on. You're upsetting the people who work here. So stop.
I'm gonna.
This girl looks like she's in freaking like high school or something. She couldn't hold a teenage boy. She probably couldn't hold a 12-year-old boy and stop him from getting away. And she's gonna put her hands on a grown man and start issuing orders.
Ordering you to stop.
Ordering.
People who work here. So stop.
I'm gonna go.
I'm ordering you to stop. So stop.
I don't. You work for me. I don't work for you.
Okay, so that's a bad time to use this. Okay? Once an officer puts hands on you, you are detained. It is no longer this, I'm free to go. You can't stop me. I don't have to show you ID. They put hands on you. They have detained you. The point is moot. If you're looking for an unlawful detention lawsuit, once they put hands on you, you got it. Okay? This was an unlawful detention.
Well, I work for the public who called me here because of the actions.
Did I do anything illegal?
You're upsetting the people who live here.
Did I do anything illegal?
27 from 156. Can you assist?
Okay, as soon as a female cop doesn't know what to do and they get over their head and they step, we used to call it step on your pee-pee for a guy, but you can't say that anymore. So as soon as they get in a jam, I got to call for somebody. And cops, and I mean, any cops that truthful will tell you this happens in every agency across the country. We hire these inept females, and it is nothing but a babysitting job for the real cops.
You need to stop, okay?
I'm gonna.
What is going on, and why
is this illegal?
I want to know what's going on.
Is it illegal? But I want to know. You know what? You don't get to know what's going on. You don't get to walk up to my house and say, hey, what are you doing? I want to know what's going on. You don't get to do that. This guy's in a public place videotaping. He's not committing a crime. And she has put physical hands on him.
Because you're upsetting these people.
Oh, seems like it's upsetting you.
I want to know what you're doing.
Did I do anything illegal? I don't answer questions.
Okay, so he should have stuck with why. Can you please articulate to me why you think I'm committing a crime? What crime am I committing? Now look, cops can detain you for an investigation, but that's being abused pretty vaguely too. Because if you give cops the ability to investigate for a suspicion, then they can be suspicious because you looked at your watch and I thought that watch was a crime, or I thought you were going to rob a place because you were checking the time, or I mean, they have to have articulable facts on what crime they think you're committing. Okay, he's not committing crime. There is no articulable facts. They took a 911 call instead of contacting the RP saying, hey, what is the problem? There's a guy videotaping. Well, he's on a public place. He's allowed to videotape. Put blinds on your window. Close your windows. You have a public sidewalk by your windows. If you don't want people videotaping, you need to cover your windows. He's in a public place. He's not violating the law. That's who they should have contacted. But it's easier to harass people who are filming because cops don't like to be filmed. They don't like First Amendment orders. It's just bullshit stuff.
Definitely not to you.
Disorderly conduct, Chris.
Disorderly conduct how?
Disorderly conduct. So I looked up Illinois' disorderly conduct statute, and this is not just a person commits disorderly conduct when and this is something else you First Amendment auditors do. When people accuse you of a crime, if you do a video, put a link to something of the crime so somebody doesn't have to go search. I'm doing a video on it, so I search. But it would be nice for me to click down in the bottom and say, hey, here's the definition of disorderly conduct. I didn't do it. Most First Amendment auditors stop at just kind of like harassing cops and getting them to do stupid shit, but they don't follow through to say, hey, I didn't commit this crime. A person commits disorderly conduct when he or she knowingly, that means with intent, doesn't act with such unreasonable manner. This is very up to interpretation, so this is very vague. What's unreasonable? What's unreasonable to me and you and to this little 100-pound female and to a regular cop and to a ticket-writing cop and to a freaking, cop that works gangs? A cop that works gangs don't give a shit about this. A cop that writes tickets thinks this is the case of the century. This little girl who doesn't do anything thinks this is the case. So what's unreasonable? When a person doesn't act unreasonable manner has to alarm or disturb another and to provoke a breach of peace. This is the key part here. And, not or, and provoke a breach. What kind of breach of peace does this guy do? How did he breach the peace? He was videotaping on a public sidewalk. Doesn't act in an unreasonable manner, has to alarm or disturb. Okay, maybe somebody was alarmed, maybe someone was disturbed, but it says to provoke a breach of peace. How is this a breach of peace? The other things are fire alarms, pulling fire alarms, bomb threats, etc. None of it applies. So this is what the cops want to charge. Oh, he was being unreasonable. He breached the peace. He made another person disturbed. This is bullshit. This isn't disorderly conduct, which is why they let him go.
And disturbing the people who
Am I allowed to photograph on the sidewalk or no?
I'm trying to figure out what you're doing.
Okay.
Well, why don't you ask what the crime is? Why don't you investigate? They can go in and say, who made the complaint? What's your complaint? I don't like being videotaped. That's not against the law. Yeah, but he's videotaping. Yeah, but it's not against the law. Well, if he's not doing a crime, if he didn't threaten anybody, he didn't breach the peace, right? He's not committing disorderly conduct. Without a crime, I've got no reason to contact him. He's allowed to videotape. Have a nice day. That's how this should have been handled.
Chris?
Look,
I'm going to put you in handcuffs if you don't stop.
Physical force. When you put hands, most agencies require you to fill out a use of force. This police officer, female wannabe police officer, put her hands on somebody. Okay? You can't do that.
You could put me in handcuffs.
Okay, then stop.
No, you could put me in handcuffs.
I'm kind of wondering why she keeps calling him Chris. Does she have contact with him before? Does she know him? That's even more relevant because the totality of circumstances to her is, I know Chris, he's always videotaping, I've contacted him before, he doesn't have a criminal history, he's not a violent guy. Do you think she would put her hands on two men fighting like this and get in the middle? No. She would stand back and yell and scream.
This isn't legal.
Stop.
This is not legal.
What are you doing?
This is not legal.
See, he's kind of stunned here instead of being more articulate and saying, why are you putting your hands on me and using physical force when I'm not committing a crime? Now, she could say, I'm investigating a crime and I'm detaining you. And you're detained. Just because it's illegal and she doesn't have a crime, that doesn't matter. Once she says you're detained, you're detained. Your freedom of movement has been stopped. You no longer have the right to leave. And if you do, then you move into resisting arrest. I'm not saying I agree with it, people. I'm just telling you what the law is.
Chris?
This is not legal. I'm going about my day.
I'm detaining you until I can find out what you're doing and why you're doing this.
This is
Put your
illegal.
cell phone down.
That's a Terry stop.
I'm detaining you.
Okay, so now you start talking about Terry stop. Okay, a Terry stop came from cops saw a guy in the middle of the night looking through a drugstore or gun store. He had burglary tools on him. He had a long trench coat. And a cop thought that was suspicious. And the court agreed. That is suspicious. So he walked over to investigate. And he patted the guy down for weapons, and that's where the Terry stop came from. And a pat down is not a search. And, I mean, is this really falling under Terry stop? I don't even know. My point on this is she put physical hands on you, which is physical force, when you weren't resisting and you didn't commit a crime. That's a problem. However, when she told you were detained and you tried to leave, her policy probably says she can use force to effect a lawful detention. And then when the detention is unlawful, it doesn't matter. That's the problem.
That's a Terry stop.
Put your phone down.
That's a Terry stop.
So, what's going on?
Now cops will come here and say, look, had the dude just told her and he shouldn't have to tell her because she shouldn't be asking and she shouldn't be putting her hands. See, cops like the ability to make mistakes and not be accountable. It's easy. It's hard to know the law, learn the law, and have to follow the law. But that's what they're supposed to do. That's what they take an oath to do. It shouldn't be easy.
What's your deal? What's going on and why are you recording these people?
Do you have your body cam on?
10-4, 10-6. Absolutely I do, my friends.
So that's good. Absolutely, my friend. Now look, this cop isn't being a jerk or an asshole, okay? However, she's using her badge and authority to conduct illegal operations and conduct on a citizen who didn't do anything wrong. This is where government increments of intrusion and lack of accountability turns into the slippery slope.
Now I'm trying to figure out what's going on and why you're doing this. Because you're upsetting them.
And is there a law about upsetting someone because somebody gets upset? What exactly, can you give me some articulable facts on what I did that was upsetting? She would say, well, you filmed through the windows, they thought they were being videotaped. That's not a crime, and that's not against the law.
Is he a supervisor?
Absolutely he is.
Perfect.
Sergeant Stewart, I've detained him because...
So, my guess is Sergeant Stewart has showed up to a lot of her calls where she goes, Sergeant Stewart, he didn't listen to me, and Sergeant Stewart, and That's just my guess.
Keeps walking away from me. He won't tell me what's going on, and he's recording the people who are inside of the Lutheran home.
So it went to your recording to now you're recording people. But all the windows I looked at looked like they were closed. And even if he was recording people, he's on a public sidewalk in a public place. He's not violating the law.
Why are you recording inside?
And he will not give me that answer.
Why are you recording them inside? So this is how cops can turn in a innocent call and try to make it more. So they're going to try to get him for voyeurism, or maybe there's a private private property, or there was an injured, or there was a medical procedure going on and he videotaped it, and that's in some section of the health and safety mental awareness code, whatever. So they're reaching now because they're trying to find a crime to justify this detention and arrest.
He keeps pulling away from
I'm
me.
definitely not answering questions to you guys, but
Okay, I'll hold him and go see if they'll sign a complaint for disorderly
Absolutely.
conduct.
Okay, so again, physical force, guy wasn't trying to walk away. He didn't need to put hands on him. This is, again, why are we grabbing people?
this fine.
And his phone is still
Like
recording.
what?
So just,
Hey, can I not photograph on the sidewalk? Am I allowed to?
They were concerned that you were photographing residents inside.
No, there wasn't.
You weren't?
Okay, so this cop is a little bit more articulate. He said they were concerned you were photographing them. And he goes, you weren't? I mean, his answer should have been like, I'm photographing from a public place, and I'm photographing this building. If somebody's inside, are you telling me that's against the law to photograph a building if people are inside? And the cop would have went, Again, if you can form more articulate questions, and I realize you're getting handcuffed, your heart rate's going up. I mean, that's kind of, you've already got people grabbing on you, they detained you. That's a very intrusive act if you've never had it done to you.
No.
Just photographing.
Look, all these blinds are closed, yeah?
Long here, I don't know. if
Yeah,
they're
look,
not.
go look at them. All right.
So now the cop got him to say, see, the blinds are closed. And now the cop can say, well, this one's not closed, or this one's not closed all the way. It doesn't matter if the blinds are wide open. They can't claim, I can't say I'm sitting in my house and a plane flew by and I think he can see my house and I thought he had a camera. Go stop the plane. I mean, that's just crazy.
Why wouldn't you stop when she asked you to?
Do I have to?
Yes.
Was I being detained?
Yes.
What crime was I suspected of committing?
This long pause. So this was a good question, but now the cop's got to come up with one.
Being detained?
Yes.
What crime was I suspected of committing?
You really want to go that route?
You really want to go that route. This is what happens. Cops hate it, and as a cop, I always knew a guy was lying or was up to no good when he answered a question with a question, because that is a deflection and a way to get away from the question because I don't have a good answer. So when a guy goes, what crime was I suspected? The cop asks a question, do you really want to go there? That is a big clue for any cop. If you answer a question with a question, for you First Amendment auditors and people out there, citizens that deal with cops, if a cop ever answers a question with a question, they're deflecting, they know they're wrong, and they're trying to redivert the conversation to where they can kind of be right.
What crime was
We're
I
investigating somebody acting in a disorderly manner.
How?
You're video recording a nursing home. And
But
you're upsetting the
photography
residents.
on the sidewalk.
We didn't know that. Don't we have to talk
Photography on the sidewalk. Do I have to
Okay.
answer?
Okay, so right there he had the cop. The cop said, we didn't know that you were videotaping from the sidewalk. Okay, calm down for a second. Go, okay, but you know that now. I'll let you look at my tape. If you knew I was only videotaping from the sidewalk, would I be in handcuffs right now? And then the cop would be like, do you really want to go there? Because that's how you articulate these things on these First Amendment audits.
Answer questions to that? No, I don't.
about it? Wow.
Do I?
Where'd you get your law degree, man?
Do I?
Oh, so now the cops ask him, when the cops ask, where'd you get your law degree? That means they're trying to discount that you don't know what you're talking about. You're not so smart. You're asking them questions that they can't answer. So let me deflect to where'd you get your law degree? Okay. If this guy would have said, I'm actually an attorney and I do have a law degree, he would have been like, oh.
Well, if you just cooperated with her, you wouldn't be in handcuffs, right?
Ah, here it is. If you just cooperate, you wouldn't be in handcuffs. If you just bow down to government, we wouldn't have to shoot you. If you just let us abuse your rights, you wouldn't have to worry us about us putting you in jail and causing you fines. If you... Oh, man, this video is kind of a simple video. I kind of watched it, and I'm just kind of like, this is such a slippery slope. This isn't the crime of the century. These cops weren't assholes. This isn't a, like, blood-raising, blood pressure video, but it's still so wrong on so many levels.
Right? That's what we got to get to the bottom of. Is there being a crime committed?
Silence is the consent for you to consistently... What did I do say? Because...
We'll do a Terry stop or a contact card with you. Do an investigative stop.
You guys just put me in handcuffs. I didn't do anything.
Because you're disobeying an officer.
How?
So you put you in handcuffs because you disobeyed an officer, but what do you mean you disobeyed? So any cop, anytime, anywhere, can walk up to you and give you orders, and then if you don't listen, he can put you in handcuffs. Raise your hand if you think that's the law. Of course it's not the law. It has to be in the course and scope of your duties, and you have to be conducting lawful conduct. You can't go out there and commit crimes and go, hey, give me your wallet. I'm going to take some money. No. Disorderly conduct. You're going to handcuffs. You can't be doing illegal acts and then claim that you're disobeying an order.
Is that illegal?
Telling you to stop and come here.
Did I do anything illegal?
That's what we're trying to determine.
Okay, so
I'm not going to argue with you.
There's no reason.
Yeah, you are going to argue with him because you're wrong. And it's bullshit. And he shouldn't be in handcuffs. And if you want to investigate a crime, you don't arrest everybody to investigate a crime. You know what? Let's see here. A school teacher said that other school teachers were mean to her. Do you think the cops are going to go in and handcuff every school teacher in the building to determine whether or not a crime was committed? Of course not. That's unreasonable. It's stupid.
Reasonable suspicion.
I'm not arguing with you.
No reasonable suspicion.
Yes, there is.
No, that what? What crime?
Define reasonable suspicion.
What crime?
See, the cop turned that around and told him to define reasonable suspicion. This is where the guy went, would you just explain to me what your reasonable, articulable suspicion is? And articulable suspicion is you have to give facts and details. You can't say it was a hunch. I had a bad feeling. That's not articulable suspicion. Okay, articulable suspicion is you had a bulge in your pocket. Somebody said they thought they saw a weapon. You were acting like you were disoriented. You were off balance. You were screaming. You were doing things that caused other people to be in concern of their safety. Those are all articulable facts that you can say. You were videotaping? Really? That's your articulable fact? You were on a public sidewalk? That's your articulable fact?
What crime am I suspected of committing?
Isn't that what we're here to investigate?
Do you suspect me of committing a crime?
Yeah.
What crime?
You were committing a crime.
What crime?
You're videotaping residents inside the nursing home.
Inside the nursing home.
And what crime is that? If you're going to arrest me for it, can you explain to me what that crime? What is the section for that crime? And this is where cops will be like, I don't want to talk about it. Because, I mean, look, I didn't know every section. Sometimes you had to go look it up and find it and research it and figure out what the exact code fit, you know. I mean, not every crime for, you know, if you don't deal with a lot, you don't know. Counterfeiting is a good example. I don't do a lot of counterfeiting, so when I looked up counterfeiting, I'd have to look up the state and then the federal, and then I'd call Secret Service and go, what's a good charge for this? And he'd say how much money, and did he have printing material, and did he just possess it, or was he trying to pass it, or was he trying to sell it? So there's all these different laws for different things, so there's no way nobody's going to know all that. But if this guy is saying you committed a crime videotaping inside, it sounds like he knows the law. Can you give me the section that videotaping a building with somebody inside is unlawful? And the cop wouldn't have done it. He'd have said, I'm not going to argue with you, or you really want to go there.
And is that illegal? From the sidewalk to videotape?
To videotape people inside?
To videotape
yeah,
from the sidewalk is...
I don't think that is illegal. I would like to know that section. I don't think that's illegal. If you're in a building and somebody videotapes from a public place and you don't want them, close your freaking window. You can't say the whole world can't videotape because I want my window open.
It's illegal. To videotape from the sidewalk is
illegal. No, you're
illegal.
asking two separate questions.
Is videotaping from the
Tell me
sidewalk
what reasonable
illegal?
suspicion is, being that you're asking that question.
Is videotaping from the sidewalk illegal?
Okay, I wanted to talk about reasonable suspicion real quick because there's a difference. Probable cause, I don't know what their probable cause. Let's see, probable cause means a person. My standard probable cause is those set of facts or circumstances that would lead a reasonable person to conclude that a crime is occurring, is about to occur, or has occurred, and that this person or persons contacted is involved, engaged, or suspected of those crimes. So that's my off the top of the head probable cause. That's what I need to make an arrest, okay? I just need to believe that there was a crime and that you were involved or probably committed it. That's probable cause. Articulable suspicion, or what do they call it? Reasonable suspicion. That's RAS, reasonable articulable suspicion. They put here, has been identified by the Supreme Court as a sort of common sense conclusion about human behavior upon which practical people are entitled to rely. So that means a reasonable person. Further, it is defined reasonable suspicion as requiring only something more than unarticulable hunch. And a hunch has always been used. You know, cops used to say, I just had a hunch about this guy. And then they said, you can't do that. So we have to redefine this and say, when you have a hunch, explain to me why you feel this way. You know what? I've seen this guy in the neighborhood. He's looking around. He's not real. Those are all articulable facts on why I have a hunch. But it used to be cops just go, I have a hunch. You know, something seems hinky here. And so they would go. And now you have to articulate why it seems unreasonable, why it seems hinky. Okay? So these facts or circumstances that would give rise to more than bare, imaginary, and purely conjectural suspicion. So I like that, but reasonable suspicion is pretty low compared to probable cause. But you still need to be investigating a crime. Reasonable suspicion means that any reasonable person would suspect that a crime was in process of being committed. What crime? What crime was being committed? Had been committed or was going to be committed very soon. That sounds like more probable cause, but again, you have to have a crime to enact reasonable suspicion or probable cause.
You don't get it, do you?
Can you?
I'm not explaining
Can you
anymore,
call a
'cause
lieutenant?
I
here?
am the sergeant.
Can you call a lieutenant?
Nope.
Okay.
So the reason why he's not calling lieutenant is policy says a supervisor, once a supervisor makes contact, we will not call for other supervisors. Now, he can call a lieutenant. He can make a written report. I hope this guy See, these Second Amendment auditors don't follow through with these. If you don't lawsuit, you have to file a written formal complaint. You cannot say, we're going to investigate it, we're sorry, we'll take care of it. That means we're brushing on the rug, there's no documentation, there's no number assigned. When you start an IA and you do an official formal complaint, that starts a tracking process, and then there's a record. And then you have the rights and ability to be notified, be interviewed, etc. So everything gets documented, and now it's a matter of record. If you don't do that, if you don't make a written formal complaint, nothing happens. And that's where I think a lot of First Amendment auditors miss. All right, I got to wrap this up here.
This is not illegal. This is not illegal.
So if you,
why do I have to answer?
So if you jaywalk, you're not doing anything illegal.
Jaywalk is a crime. That's a crime. You committed a crime. This guy just defined a crime, and that's different. He hasn't defined a crime here.
You say you don't do anything illegal. If you damage a vehicle, you don't.
Damaging a vehicle is illegal.
Okay, but how do we know that you aren't doing something illegal because it got reported
So you're
that you were?
assuming.
No, we got a report. We're not assuming.
You got a report saying what?
That you were doing something illegal.
That I was. So you got.
That I was doing something. Really? So now we can just red flag people like, hey, I think he's doing something illegal. Really? Okay, great. The cops are responding. Let's handcuff him and search him. More red flag shit. I think she comes out and says they don't want to press charges or something.
What? So
Disorderly conduct.
Disorderly conduct?
Yes.
How? For what?
I already explained that to you.
What did I do? Disorderly.
Come on, let's go.
What did I do? What
Put
did
it
I
in the car and then we'll talk about it.
Notice, what did I do that's disorderly? Come on, let's go. I made a decision. I'm in charge. I have power. This is total BS. I wish this guy could sue and get some money because this is really bad. And again, this guy put the information down here at the bottom to where they let him go. Here's the PD and if someone else. But anyway, we'll end that there. Reasonable suspicion, unlawful stops, physical force, all kind of things here. This should probably go on earning the hate. Even though the cops weren't jerks about it, they still did shit they shouldn't be doing.